first round performance, Xiao was the better player.
Yes, hello, Phil. Looking forward to this match, of course. Yeah, I mean, Xiao Guodong is a vastly improved player to the one he was around 4 or 5 years ago. He's become a winner. He's retained a ranking title. He's a hard match player, and this is potentially a very difficult game for Ronnie O'Sullivan, I think, these days. And also, O'Sullivan was not particularly impressive in his first round win. A win is a win, of course, and at the moment he probably will improve on it, but he might need to, and that shot was not a great start. To beat Joe O'Connor yesterday. Xiao Guodong is just a tough, hard match player now, and I don't know whether just the fact that that man is sitting in the chair will be enough to put him off his game. Beat Kyron Wilson on day one, the recent Masters champion. So, as you rightly say, I think this is potentially a very difficult game to call.
I think one of Xiao Guodong's problems early in his career, when he played the elite players on the circuit, he looked as though he was a little overawed. That is not the case now.
Well, I've heard him say a few things, and interesting things. He speaks pretty good English, and he's kind of made the point, don't go into a match with any set plan, just see what happens. Keep an open mind as to what might happen, because it's very easy to go into a match and, think you know what's going to happen and how it might pan out, and it's best really not to do that. And something has changed in the last couple of seasons. He's a stronger player mentally than ever.
Yes, and pertinent to this, one of the game's heaviest scorers now. 54 centuries last season, already 41 this.
I think one thing he's very good at is he kind of occupies the table. He's at the table now, and he intends to stay there. He's not rushed into shots. And what it can result in is quite long spells of sitting out if you're playing against him. A bit like they used to speak about the old great billiard players. Your opponent would be sitting out for hours on end. It's not like that, clearly. The frame of snooker is just a frame of snooker, but you make your mistake and you're made to pay, and that's match snooker for you. You will not be rushed into shots. Already O'Sullivan made quite a poor safety shot. He kissed the blue. Now, is he going to get this very tightly grouped bunch open here? Might be a good time with the one red in loose play, which he might be able to land on anyway. He's played it really well. I like the way he had the opposite side on. He played it with right hand side. It would be reverse side had it hit the cushion, but that is the really good way to play it. The key ball then comes out and up towards the reds, not back down below the black. It's a very good split. You've got more chance of being on one than playing it the other way. Just looking to see if that red goes. It looks very tight. He's got one to middle, which I think is the one he'll end up playing.
$32.
These two have played in the World Grand Prix before. O'Sullivan won 5-0 in the quarterfinals in 2018, a tournament he went on to win. In that match, he made 4 centuries, outscored Xiao 522 points to 45. But 8 years on, Xiao is a very different proposition.
$47.
And that's well played also. This is a very controlled break. I really enjoyed the way he split the bunch, as I mentioned at the time. So he's got the right sort of blend, hasn't he, of attack and defence. When he's attacking, he's all out. Some news from the other table. Sergio Wei and Pan Jin Su. I actually saw the referee setting the balls. I thought, wow, they've had a quick frame. They've already had a re-rack there
54.
in frame 1.
$55.
It's a lovely little shot. I mean, that's so well controlled to finish underside that red that he's
62.
just nudged into. Now he's on this one. I mean, if he needed to be
63.
sort of reassured of what we're saying, that this is a tough match for O'Sullivan, you probably have already worked it out. It's a lovely break. He needs another red to ensure that the first frame goes his way. I don't doubt for 1 second that he'll pot it. Now it's a question, probably, after this red goes in, of how many.
70.
Possible 1-4-5 is on. And what a start to a match that would be.
71.
And it would be worth making because there's a £10,000 highest break prize, and 145 would be very much the front runner. Xiao Guodong comfortably qualified for this. He's 10th
78.
on the 1-year ranking list, and that's despite missing a couple of tournaments, Northern Ireland Open and the very lucrative Saudi Arabia Masters. He was competing in the
79.
World Games at the time, winning gold. So I think that just underlines what a force he's become.
$86.
In beating Kyron Wilson 5-2 in the first round, he had breaks of 87, 86, 50 and 54. He's going to exploit chances like this, Neil. That was a very badly misjudged safety from O'Sullivan.
It's not that much to stop him here, is there? Just the red down the cushion. I don't think these pockets have been as generous as some of the events that we've seen in Asia
95.
in the last couple of seasons, but it's been a beautifully controlled break. What a start to this match.
$102. $103.
Well, 145 probably not going to be made now, because he did
110.
for once misjudge that. And yes, he can pot the red, but I doubt he'll end up on the black. Be a nice break to have made, actually. It could be that it's 144, but this is a difficult pot to keep the break going. Very nicely recovered. So 144 it could be now. Still an outstanding break.
117.
Yeah, the target 141
190.
put together by Barry Hawkins in the last 32.
$122.
This is a fellow who's made 2 147s this season. One in successfully defending the Wuhan Open.
126.
Another, much more recently, in the Championship League. He's had 3 147s in total. And as I said before, I think he's developing into one of the game's premier break builders.
Well, he's slightly overrun here.
131.
And while he can go from pink to black, you know, this positionally is not a certainty. If he decides to roll it in, he'll be higher on the black. If he plays it with left-hand side to play on the black into the same pocket, the pot becomes missable. Well, he's played it well.
137.
He's laid down a marker here, hasn't he, early on?
What a start from Xiao Guodong. 147s have been prevalent this season, no doubt about time. His opponent made one. After his win yesterday, Neil, I thought some of O'Sullivan's comments were quite interesting, actually. In his press conference, he said, "I don't think a lack of sharpness is my problem, because I've always played fewer tournaments than other players. I think my bad game is a lot worse than it used to be, and my good is not as good. That's the reason I'm not winning as much. I'm probably not a very good player anymore and have to accept that. I'm trying to find a way to keep playing without it driving me crazy."
The one thing he did do yesterday after his win, he bit the tip off his cue straight away. And that's what he does, O'Sullivan. You know, he makes it obvious that he's not happy with his tip by doing that. And if he's trying to play in a new one, he's not had any table time. And that's also a significant factor.
One.
He's finished at the right angle on the brown, I think. The yellow he's looking at as well, the thin cut. I think I'd be as interested in the brown as anything else from there, quite honestly. Don't know why he would be so keen to play the yellow as opposed to the brown. The yellow it is, interestingly. You must think it's a natural if he gets the pot to come on a red. Yeah, that's a good shot, isn't it?
Three.
Well, as you can see, that red goes. The pink also available into the same pocket. I think the
Four.
pink might not go anywhere close to its spot. That's the other thing to say. Below the spot, I guess.
Chinese snooker in general is very healthy. So many numbers to support that. The most recent, the latest evidence, a record 9 Chinese players in the last 16 of this tournament. In fact, only 3 nations are represented now. 9 Chinese players, 6 from England, 1 from Wales.
Eleven.
Well, I was mentioning before the fact that
16.
the last time they played in the Champion of Champions, Xiao prevailed 4-3 from 3-0 down. And he's carrying on here in a similar vein, even though it's a couple of years apart. O'Sullivan, Neil, had less than a handful of shots.
Well, he's going to get a shot now, so that is the first semblance of a mistake, and it's quite a considerable one, actually. So interesting. Now, what has O'Sullivan got early in the match? He's not had any table time, and he's got to step up.
One.
So, as I say, a different tip to the one he played with yesterday, which, you know,
8.
it's got to be something that's on his mind, I have to say. I'm sure he's been put on expertly and been knocked in, but he's out there in the under the lights playing in a big match.
9.
And he's already been reminded that his opponent is bang up for this. So I think we can expect a really good match here, especially if O'Sullivan plays anywhere near what he's capable of.
16. 17.
Left-handed, of course, down the cushion. No big deal for O'Sullivan. That's a nice shot. That's perfectly on the blue. That's what you need. He's got the choice here to play on the loose red or go into the top of that half a dozen reds. Yeah. That's unlucky, I have to say. He played to the left of the bunch to sort of get involved with the loose red as well to try and stop it. The break is going to end there, and the problem he's got then is a small matter of the red close to the right corner.
Yeah, playing safe was no problem, but playing a telling traditional safety up into baulk was too risky.
Well, that's given Guodong a bit of a problem. He's not going to be playing anything to that middle pocket. He's got to find a way of hiding the cue ball from that red. which is not easy, but you know, there's a chance of it. And it's usually here you think, now where could I leave this cue ball? There's going to be a problem, and he's probably trying to leave it somewhere, perhaps in behind the yellow or certainly onto the cushion. But his hand is forced a little bit because he can't get the cue ball back to where it is. Ronnie tried to shift that red away from the pocket or pot it. And he's played a pretty good shot himself, hasn't he, there? What a good shot. What a superb shot, in fact. There's a lot resting on that. Now, even if he doesn't land on the colour, he can play the roll-up. I don't know whether he will, now that he's on the brown.
The opening red to middle really was
5.
out of the top draw. One good positional shot here and he could be away. That qualifies as good, even though it's lucky.
Yeah, he didn't play on it like that, did he? He played on it into the other pocket, but it's okay. It's absolutely fine. The two reds go into the same pocket. He can land behind them. These are early stages of a match, but they're big moments. They're big moments. O'Sullivan had his opportunity, didn't make
13.
as many as he could have done. I thought he was a bit unlucky with the split from the blue to the reds. Now, the other thing to say about this visit, he will need all of the reds here. The right-hand red is not a big problem. He's a right-handed player, but he can't win the frame otherwise. So let's see how he goes about this.
$19. $20.
So here's the potentially troublesome red that Neil was
27.
mentioning. If this disappears, 2-0 beckons.
It's one of these, isn't it? You've got to roll it in down the cushion. I think you've got to play it, but it's quite missable. It's something about you can't see the opening of the pocket from where your head position is. You've got to trust your judgment and drop this in. And he's done it quite beautifully. And I like the way he played it. He just said, right, OK, I'm going to play this dead weight. I'm going to believe that I'm good enough to knock that in. So that's the difficult red out of the way. Now he's just got to finish the job.
Yeah, normally if you miss a black against Ronnie O'Sullivan, it is not good news for you. But that's not the case in this frame, it seems. From his chance, O'Sullivan made 30. He was unfortunate to
36.
not break the reds up as nicely as he deserved, and now Xiao is on the verge of 2-0.
Didn't quite want to finish there. He needs a colour with it. Well, he doesn't need a colour, actually. Apologies, but he needs to pot this, and it would be handy to get on a colour. And that will be, barring something extraordinary, 2-0. And who could say he doesn't deserve it on the balance of play? He missed that black off the spot, which was a big surprise, the way that he's rock solid these days. But like I say, O'Sullivan is going to have to really up his game to compete with the consummate match play of Xiao Guodong these days. A lot has changed in his game.
53.
Yeah, Xiao has never won this World Grand Prix, but he's trying to reach the quarterfinals of it for the 5th time. He's highly respected amongst his fellow pros.
6.
Late developer, but now I think the word formidable is not an exaggeration.
I just think he's mentally stronger these days. He's always been a good player, hasn't he? Something has changed in his sort of mental approach to playing. Not someone that is
65.
that fears reputations.
71.
In the Players' Championship, even though he's definitely got enough points to qualify for it. So consequently, the player who's 17th on the one-year list at the end of this tournament will get in. It's the 16 highest available players who are in that tournament. Someone, we don't know who yet, will receive a bonus. Pang Junzhu 2-0 down quickly to Xiao Wei, who's made breaks of 93 and most recently in the second frame 121.
Another outstanding pot. Now we could do with seeing the positioning of the cue ball.
1.
Yes, he missed the yellow, and
Yellow.
he's going to play it to middle, I think. Well, that wasn't remotely close.
1.
And the O'Sullivan fans finding their voice. This was not close. Didn't even hit the near jaw.
1.
I think we're looking to see a really good match here as neutrals. We, wouldn't mind a Xiao O'Sullivan win a frame or two and take us deep in this match. It's been one-way traffic thus far.
Six. 7.
He's got a red that goes at the bottom of the bunch. As you can see, the one just sticking out slightly, so he doesn't have to go into the pack of reds from the next colour. And I think with that angle that he, well, basically doesn't have now, he might just play on the red. Play on the loose red for now.
Seventeen.
I think he always knew that was going in.
17. Xiao Guodong 4.
He had a not quite as wide an angle on that red as he would have liked to open the bunch. I wondered if he would have considered screwing off them. If he could have that shot again, would he screw back and open the bunch that way and maybe get on the blue?
O'Sullivan hasn't won a world ranking event since the 2024 World Grand Prix. There have been times in his career when he's had a lot more confidence than this, and that's the thing with this game. When things aren't going right, quite often problems are compounded by the fact you don't get the best of run, and we saw it when he broke the pack in frame 2 and there again. Just needs something to get going, and at the moment he's being deprived of that.
Yes, what was evident when he played in Berlin last week, I felt, and he lost to Ali Carter, who he had got a great record against. His cue ball control, which is usually absolutely immaculate, it was anything but. He lost control of the cue ball during the course of that break, and yes, he was a bit unlucky to going off just then. But actually, he didn't land very good on the red to get the bunch open, so usually he can rely on perfect position, but he hasn't quite got his touch yet in that department. It's one of the reasons the break ended how it did.
Well, nowhere near from Xiao Guodong. Caught that far too thick. So another chance for O'Sullivan.
One.
Again, it comes down to getting this bunch of reds open. He's having a little look to see if anything in there. I don't know if there's a possibility of a plant, the two reds to the right corner. If they're not dead on, there's enough room between the two reds to make it into a plant, put it that way. O'Sullivan has spotted it, so he may not go into the bunch here. Well, he has.
Sixteen.
Now, this looks a more difficult plant than the one perhaps to the other corner pocket that he could have played. He's just a little ring rusty, isn't he, as we say, you know. In a match like this, he's not going to help him because his opponent's in great form. That's a beautiful shot. That really is. That was not easy, especially to hold for the black.
And sometimes with an inspirational player like O'Sullivan, Neil, all it takes is one shot to light the spark.
25.
Yes, he really needs this break, doesn't he? He needs this to be a frame winner. Basically, I don't think he'll feel in this match until he's got a frame on the
32.
board.
33.
I thought if you could take anything good from his first round win against Joe O'Connor, because he didn't play well, he did compete hard. He was 2-0 down in that match. Ended up winning 5-3. But even when he was struggling, you know, he put in a shift, I thought. Which, you know, let's be honest, in the past when he's not been at his best, he hasn't always
40.
wanted to do that. This frame is just about over, it seems.
41.
Another red required. That's not going to be a problem. We've got an interesting match on our hands, haven't we?
$45.
Yeah, really intriguing for a whole variety of
46.
reasons. O'Sullivan won't be aware of this, no chance, but there's a mini milestone at stake today. If he wins this match, it would secure the 150th ranking event quarter-final of his career.
52.
Only John Higgins with 154 has been involved in more.
57. 58.
Well, he can't go on and make a century here.
64.
He can actually make 99 for what it's worth.
65.
I wonder how many of those he's made in his career. I mean, I don't even think the stats people have got that information. He's made 1,313 career centuries. The breaks of 99,
72.
I don't know. Probably not as many as you'd think. He's a little surprised by that
74.
bounce. He might not even make 99 now. He's overdone that. He's a little surprised by that. Goodness me. I think it was a jump shot. Anyway, he's won the frame.
Ronnie
Don't know. I don't know if that. I think it was a foul shot.
For more here. The winner of this, by the way, will take on either Pang Junzhu or Xiao Wei in the quarterfinals. So leading 2-0 there at the moment. 1-0 for Barry Hawkins over Zhang Ganda. And plenty of resilience shown by Chris Wakelin to win the second frame against Elliot Slesser. Slesser needed 3 snookers before he won the first on the black, but Wakelin tidily won the second frame with a break of 72.
So, I mean, it's a very big frame. If O'Sullivan can get out of this first 4 frames at 2 each, you know, he'll feel like he's achieved something. Guodong started absolutely superbly. And, of course, he'll feel a bit aggrieved if he doesn't get 3 of the first 4 frames. A lot will depend on what happens here. I don't know if he's looking at a 2-ball plant here to right middle. They're not an easy shot. But, of course, it would offer a great rewards if it drops. See how he gets on with it. But the way he played it, I think, to cushion, I don't think he particularly fancied the pot.
Sometimes even the most creative, innovative player in the game's history has no option but to just roll into the pack.
Well, this is one of these frames, isn't it? Where the Reds might end up at the other end of the table. I think recently it was with Cliff Thorburn, and he describes these as an upside down frame, which I hadn't really heard that expression, but I get it. You know, potentially all the Reds will end up at the other end of the table to where they started. Unless, of course, Ronnie can pop this one to middle. I don't think he can.
This World Grand Prix has been very kind to O'Sullivan. 3-timer winner, 2018, 21 and 24. Runner-up in 2015 when it wasn't a ranking event. Also a semi-finalist in 2020.
They're always intriguing frames, though, these sort of frames, because, say, invariably the Reds end up all drifting to the other end, and then the first chance is a big one. Often with low-value colours taken with the Reds, but we won't preempt what happens here. But with the score 2-1 to Xiao Guodong, it's a kind of important frame in the context of this best-of-9 frame match. Well, as he left the red, he has. I tell you what, it's not hanging over that top left pocket, is it? The yellow pocket. So, I mean, this, he might have to play, but it's not a certainty from that distance. It looks easy on that screen, but I don't think it is. Well done. That's an interesting battle that O'Sullivan has won there. And now he's got a good chance to get himself on level terms.
Interesting, you know, in the previous frame on that academic yellow, he was really surprised with the liveliness of the bounce off the ball cushion that deprived him of position on the green. I think it is a bit lively, that cushion, and it helped there. Did so well to get on the blue.
7.
As Neil described, it was a really good pot, even though the red was close to the pocket.
Twelve. 13. 20.
So, just an angle 2. It's done through onto the black.
21.
I think he understands the importance here. It wouldn't be about just adding to his huge list of centuries here. I think it's one of these frames you get to about 75. He'd be more than happy to walk into the mid-session at 2-all.
28.
He's a master around the black spot, but as you can see, all the reds are scattered around the entirety of the table. Oh, is he not finished on the black?
29.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I don't see what he can do. He might have to play the recovery yellow, but it's not a nice shot. He'd be very annoyed there. He knew the importance of that visit.
It was a tough shot in itself, that yellow. Psychologically made more difficult by the fact that he was taking it on because of a misjudged positional shot.
I think he'd have been aware that that red might have come in the way of being on the black, but he still took the shot on. He didn't have a backup shot, though, did he? The pink was not available. The blue also not available. He had to go for the yellow. It wasn't rash. He just didn't want to be there. Now, Guodong has met with a problem. He's got a long straight red
6.
into the green pocket, but those two reds at this end of the table in each other's way. So he's going to have to show some of his cue power here. He's actually more of a timer of the ball. He's got to bring this out of bulk, this cue ball. Well, he hit it okay, not one of his finest.
Yeah, didn't hit the red absolutely square on. That's why he's close to the cushion. Another pressure shot coming up. Well coped.
9. 10.
What a tournament it's been already. First round, out, defending champion. The world's number 1 and 2. 7 former world champions departed. 7 ranking event winners this season. And now
12.
the round of 16 could begin with another upset.
Well, for now, he's happy to take the lower value colours, knowing that just being at the table is key. But you look at those two reds in bulk, and they're going to play a part, aren't they? I mean, how does he get on them without moving them? So that was something he'll address later on, but he can't go anywhere near to winning the frame until he has got those reds in play.
17.
Obviously, the red down the right cushion is also an issue.
18.
So I don't think it's right to say this is a frame-winning chance just yet. There's a few reasons why it might not be. He might try and take this red off the cushion here by potting the one that he's about
25.
to. Of course, they always say that you should never move a red
26.
off a red, and the reason they say that is for this exact reason, that positionally you're on a colour next and it might not always be very easy. So he's going to have to play a good shot now to keep this break going. The black's probably the shot, but it's yeah, very missable. Yes, and he missed it by some margin in the end.
Xiao Guodong, 26.
So both players are going to be eyeing up those two reds now, because O'Sullivan's realises it's probably the key to the frame, what he does with them.
And as so often is the case, the scrappiest frame of the match so far could well be the most important.
1. 6. 7.
Be interesting to see what he plays here. I don't know. There is a cannon available, I suppose, from pink to red, but the cue ball's travelling a seriously long way. The yellow, I suppose, would be another way he could do it. It's quite close with his waistcoat to that black here. The top red obviously goes. And that is a sensational shot. That is fantastic to finish on that red. What a shot.
12.
Yes, he looked to see if it went, but he only goes from that one position. That was brilliant.
13.
And I know they're not connected, but after the shot he just played to get on the penultimate red, I think he deserved that little nudge on the brown. Yeah, indisputably the shot of the match so far.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Now, just looking at the score here, he leaves a lead of 20, so he won't need the green, providing he doesn't take very low colours here. So red, brown
18.
and yellow is one snooker, crucially. Well, we'll only find out in a couple of hours how big this frame is. Guodong will be annoyed he's not won it. Just got to make sure this yellow.
22.
A low scoring frame this, but so crucial. And all doubt about the frame now removed.
27. 31.
And we've seen in this frame why Ronnie O'Sullivan remains so dangerous. His positional shot
36.
onto the penultimate red was pure class. 49 clearance from Ronnie O'Sullivan. To table 2, we're forced to leave you in a certain amount of suspense. Now it's back to the feature. Can Xiao Guodong start the second half of the match like he started the first? Excellently. Well, hitting the blue when you break off and getting away with it. Don't see that too often.
Yeah, I mean, the mid-session over now. Obviously, O'Sullivan would have felt better about things, 2-0 down and going nowhere, it seemed. But, you know, we start again. It ultimately won't... It's whatever happens from here that really will be decisive in this match. Tournament opening up somewhat with a lot of the big hitters who played well in Berlin going out. You know, there are big opportunities for the players left in.
One.
You can see from Sir Xiaohui's expression, not happy. The first couple of frames over there, the height of fluency. This one, well, an absolute scrap fest, and maybe that blunted his potting edge. What a ball to miss, though, Neil.
Well, they're both missing everything, aren't they, on that other table? I thought that the Sergio Way miss was easy. Probably as easy as that one. Anyway, that looks like it could go 3-0 there somehow. It's been a fiendishly long frame. We'll keep you posted on it. But we are looking to enjoy the match. We're covering Ronnie O'Sullivan and Xiao Guodong. We'll just see this out.
When Sir Xiaowei missed that pink from point-blank range, he must have thought his goose was cooked in frame 3. He got another chance. He takes it. 3-0.
It shows you what a difference a day makes, doesn't it? Because Pan Jin-soo was superb against Sean Murphy. He can't pot a ball over there. There you are. Anyway, this match, fascinating, isn't it? How it's going. The pink seemingly just available. Very close, however.
When the pathway to a pocket is as tight as this, there's a natural tendency to steer the pink towards the left-hand jaw as we're looking. Not that time, though, right into the heart of the pocket.
Yes, that day when he beat O'Sullivan in the Champion of Champions, of course, 3-0 down, not going anywhere, really. He was actually on the same day, because he played twice. He was 3-0 down against Mark Selby and beat him. So it was a terrific day for him. Played some fantastic snooker. But this is different now because he faltered a bit in the 2 frames prior to the mid-session. He's got to sort of reassert himself on the match.
23.
Well, he's only got one high-value scoring ball available. Black's not on, and of course the blue, as you can see, is away from all the
29.
action. But he can still put a dent in this frame, I think, with this visit.
Marginally underscrewed. Now, we do not see kicks very often.
Xiao Guodong, 30.
I'd like to see that one again because I think we might have seen one there. The pinks seem to go really wide. Kicks straighten up a ball. And the reaction there for me, Neil, was classic kick.
Yeah, I mean, I've just watched it again. I don't know. I mean, the fact that the man at the table uses the old-fashioned chalk suggests that you might be right, but I didn't notice it, other than he hit it on the thick side, which he often does point to a kick. It didn't make that sound or didn't jump for me, but may well have been. May well have been.
Yeah, we'll never know, but the point I was making was, as the cue ball is cleaned here, the point I was making, it had the look of one. Whether it was, I don't know. But Xiao doesn't normally miss a pot of that nature by that kind of distance.
Seven. 8.
So again, frame by frame, yes, but big moments seemingly. You know, if O'Sullivan could get himself in front. Reminder, he was 2-0 down yesterday against Joe O'Connor, another, you know, decidedly difficult opponent, who I have to say did not play particularly well in that match. Neither did the man himself, Ronnie. But it would be psychologically a big moment, I think, if he could get to the front. Doesn't mean he's going to win the match.
21.
But he's competing, which I think
22.
is the key.
Yes, O'Sullivan by no means in top gear, but you
29.
can't fault the attitude.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, it was for a period of his career, there was, you know, a time when maybe when he wasn't playing anywhere near his best, he didn't really want to compete. You know, he
35.
felt a little bit of almost shame that he wasn't playing well. But of course, he's 50 years of age
36.
now, and he knows he's got to roll his sleeves up sometimes in matches. He's still got to get this frame won. Well, that cannon's worked out. I'm not sure it's quite like that as intended. He got the double kiss, but he's on the red anyway.
42. Foul.
They'd be annoyed.
Ronnie
It didn't
O'Sullivan,
react as he
42,
thought,
Xiao Guodong, 4.
that cue ball.
Absolutely not. It was a really good camera shot, actually. We got to see the full effect of what happened. It's not an in-off, you can foresee that.
Well, he hit it. Didn't hit much of the red, but he did make contact. So again, a frame which will go down to the colours. And Ronnie deciding to get this red in play. So the table is more exposed now to a clearance from here, now that he's separated the red and the black. Well, the red will pass the black here. Not easy. Just to let you know, there's an extraordinary frame taking place between Chris Wakeley and Elliot Slessor. All the balls are in one little area of the table, it seems, apart from the bulk colours. And I don't think it's going to end any time soon. We'll keep you posted on that, but it's an extraordinary business. A lot of balls clustered into a small area.
In contrast, this table is pretty much wide open, and that's why O'Sullivan realises his last shot might prove expensive. The yellow close to the ball cushion, and in the middle of the ball cushion is clearly a potential issue.
Yeah, I mean, that yellow was knocked safe, wasn't it, a few shots ago by O'Sullivan, and now it's significant. I mean, it was on its spot, and now this would be pretty, you would think, straightforward, but for that.
Yeah, the pockets so far have been a little friendly, but you can never say that that yellow is a certainty, even if he drops nicely on it.
Seven.
So we're at crunch time, aren't we, with this yellow? This was the mistake which caused this, but now it's all about the next shot.
It wobbled a little, and he didn't try and do too much with the cue ball, so again, pressure on the green. And one has to say the pressure told. He cued right across that.
Yeah, you called it. We knew it was a big shot. It's probably the last piece of the jigsaw, really, wasn't it, once that went in? But this is also not straightforward. Green to brown. So, it's not a decider, but it kind of feels like one. The significance of this frame, I think, has not been overlooked by either player.
Well, all donations greatly accepted. I think the pink going on the top cushion helps Xiao more than O'Sullivan, given that Xiao's a few in front.
Yeah, and I think he's left it, and also he's brought the brown into a more potable position. So, as you say, the pink is not something that Xiao Guodong needs. He's just got to be a little careful here not to sort of put too much topspin on and get trapped in behind the black or anything. And he's played it in a sort of a happy-go-lucky way. And is the black going to get involved? No. He took a risk there. He didn't really know what he was doing. He just wanted to get out of that little corner. So he does need to get from brown to blue, which he should manage. Got up quickly on that shot, didn't he? I wasn't sure if he was happy with it. And he's still got another shot to play here, and the pressure has started to mount a little bit on him.
Yeah, there must be a serious question mark over this blue. Well played.
12.
Yes, and with 18 in it, he'll be doing nothing but dropping this in all over the pocket. There's absolutely no mystery to this shot. In or over. Preferably in, of course. O'Sullivan's got to keep it out. He needs a miracle. He's giving it up.
Yes, we thought that O'Sullivan might 3 frames. But the way Xiao Guodong is playing, completing a hat-trick from here for O'Sullivan might be a tough ask.
Well, you get little disappointments in any match, really, and O'Sullivan has had one by not winning that last frame. I think you can see his frustration, because at one point it did appear that he was about to, from 2-0 down, take the lead.
So the matches now are getting to the interval. Zhang Anda 3-1 up on Barry Hawkins. Sergio Wei has just taken a 4-0 lead over Pang Junzhu with his second century of the match. As for Elliott Slesser and Chris Wakelin. Well, Wakelin is 2-1 down, but Slesser needs snookers in the fourth, and I think Wakelin's just potted a red, so yeah, it is 2-2 there.
Well, that was a weak safety shot from O'Sullivan. Again, the black completely tied up, which doesn't really suit either player, certainly not O'Sullivan. Slightly more being played on the terms of Xiao Guodong this match, you feel. You know, he's marginally the happier of the way that these frames are panning out. If Ronnie gets an open table around the black spot, of course, he's lethal. But he is battling. He's fighting for every point.
1.
And you've got to give him credit for that. 50 years of age, still one of the greats of the game, the greatest we've seen. But, you know, looking to progress in this World Grand Prix.
Without wishing to defend O'Sullivan too much, he's not had the best positional luck at times in this match. From the starting position to get there, that was some shot.
Well, it only just found its way in. How is he going to get the high-value colours in play? Now he's finished straight on the brown, and he's just had to power the cue ball back up for a red. But with the pink and black safe, I think a break of 40 here would feel a significant one. Sometimes the balls dictate what you can do. This is one of those frames.
20.
But he might have to just power into the three reds and the black here, left-handed, just to open things up. Well, open things up and some. Great shot.
21.
These days, so many players can use both hands. They have ambidextrous skills throughout the tour, but really O'Sullivan, in terms of being excellent with both hands, he was the original. And that's the key when you can play with power. All very well playing
26.
Rudimentary shots with the opposite hand, but the last one we saw there, which really opened up the balls, that was superb.
27. 33.
And one thing he's always been able to do, O'Sullivan, is turn half a chance into more than that, because, he can get the balls open. When he started this break, everything seemed to be clogged up. But even that shot where he develops the 2 reds, it's been a superb break, actually. Say a 40 seemed a lot when he came to the table. Now he'd be disappointed if he doesn't make a frame-winning break. So this is excellent stuff.
48.
Just when he needed something.
The hallmark of a top player, someone who can make something from nothing.
$56. $57. $62. 63.
Well, the applause is for the frame being won in a single visit, and highly impressively. It's one thing to make a break when the balls are there, but to do it when they're not, even better. So probably at the point of no return, another red would absolutely guarantee the frame. So there'll be no playing on now.
71.
And what a match we've got. It's absolutely enthralling now from this point. Sullivan chasing the match.
I would say, to me now, he looks marginally the better of the two. Of course, that doesn't count for anything. We still have a potential 3 frames left, and so much could happen. But I think he's got his mojo to a certain degree, even though that black is missed.
79.
He makes his highest break of the match, a run of 79. And with that, for the second time, he's back on level terms. It was 2-2 at the interval, now it's 3-3. I must say, when Ronnie O'Sullivan flows like that, there's no better sight in snooker. Okay, for him, a 79 break, that's just old hat. But it was the way he compiled it, and at that precise moment, exactly what he needed. You might be interested to know how the draw pans out. Well, Jack Jones and Zhou Yulong play later. The winner of that plays Ali Carter or Yuan Sejun in the quarterfinals. It's Wu Yize or Chang Bingyu against Barry Hawkins or Zhang Anda. That's the top half. Sergio Wei 4-0 up on Pang Junzhu. So it looks as though Sir is going to play the winner of Xiao or O'Sullivan. And then right at the bottom of the draw, Chris Wakelin and Elliot Slesser, 2 frames each right now. The winner of that goes forward to face either Zhao Xintong or Mark Selby. And that will be our featured match from 11 o'clock here on TNT this morning. David Hendon and Alan McManus commentating on that one for you.
Guodong to break.
The referee announces the start of frame 7. Xiao looking to hit the front once more. O'Sullivan looking to hit the front for the first time.
Yes, and these frames have so far gone the same way as O'Sullivan's match yesterday with Joe O'Connor. He trailed 2-0, he trailed 3-2, and he's got it back to 3 each as he did yesterday, but then from here he won the last 2 frames. Whether that trend continues, I don't know, but he does look strong enough to do that. You know, when you think the way that Xiao Guodong started this match, incredible total clearance frame 1. His game has gone off the ball a bit since. I suppose the only way is down from there, playing so well at the start. But I think we know enough about him now to also know that from here he can definitely win.
Yes, in the previous round he was 4-1 up on Kyren Wilson. Had a momentary wobble. Lost the 6th frame he might well have won. But then he held himself together admirably to win 5-2.
Nice safety shot, that one. Now the red is chasing the cue ball down the table. Very often the high value colours have gone safe in this match. Obviously not in frame 1 where we saw a wonderful break of 144, but since then a little bit stop-start when it comes to scoring. Well, he might be able to get to the top side of the bunch on the right side there, but of course his worry would be what reds he would bring into play. Could easily leave something over a pocket. Done well. It's a superb safety shot. O'Sullivan agrees. Tap the table.
Ball and a miss. Xiao Guodong 6.
Well now, if the balls are to be replaced, it'll take a bit of doing because a number of balls moved here. Obviously the pink and a couple of reds. He got very close to hitting that red. I think for the referee's sake, Queenie, she'd probably be happier for Guodong to play this plant and not have to replace them. It does look as if it's makeable with the cue ball where it is. So he may play this.
It seems the red is set on towards the left-hand jaw, but as Neil said, it can be made. Well, another one went in. The plant was missed by a country mile, and another red found its way into the opposite top pocket.
What a fluke this is. What a fluke.
Now, you might say there he's unlucky. Well, the fact is he struck that one badly, even though he potted it. Talk about self-inflicted wound. Just basically dug into the cue ball a little too much, caught the green a little too thick, even though it found the pocket. And this is the end result. Pain.
Well, it's difficult to know which red to hit. I mean, if he tries to hit the red at the middle of the table, well, he's got to hit the underside of it, and he's done that. There's an element of frustration in the way he played that shot, I'm sure. O'Sullivan taps the table. But it was not the best little break you've ever seen. A fluke, a bad positional shot, and then that.
One.
The blue, the black, the pink, all off the spot.
Well, he'll be annoyed there because I think he senses that he might be able to take the upper hand in this match, but not by missing those. So it's a high-pressure situation, you feel. Pink and black not in play, so it's hard to see a huge break coming at this point unless the ball's moved slightly. Yeah, good shot. He's actually tried to bring the pink into play. I don't know where it'll go. It might go on the black spot, actually. I'm seeing the pink spot not being free enough to replace the ball. Yeah, I've got a feeling it'll go on the black, but even then it may end up on the blue. Tight for both spots.
Seven.
It's not really in his favour.
8.
Pressure is induced by all kinds of things. Prize money, ranking points, desire to lift trophies. I think with Xiao, though, against O'Sullivan, pressure's increased because he holds O'Sullivan in such high regard. And,
11.
as I mentioned right at the top of the show, he's never beaten him in a world ranking event. 4 meetings, 4 defeats.
Twelve.
Well, he's managed to get the right side, if you like, of this red, but it's not simple. It's a question of chipping away in this break. I think seeing how many you can accumulate. But I don't think it's going to be a frame winner.
Sixteen. $18.
A lot of pots for 18 points.
Well, he is on this pink, but it's all at close quarters. He's going to go into the 2 reds below, unavoidably. So, and what he has to be very careful of is in thinking about position, he doesn't forget to pot the ball, because that can happen. So the pot is everything here, and position is not so much a bonus, but he's got to see where the balls end up. Well, it's okay. Pink back on its own spot. And as Phil said, it's one of these, put a lot of
25.
balls for not many. Now it's just a question of just taking reds off the table, really, with the lead he's got. He's sort of regrouped a little bit in this
26.
break, hasn't he? Because he was looking a bit ragged.
Yeah, and we shouldn't underestimate the difficulty of the pot he's just knocked in. That was a quite nasty little one. So I was with Neil. I didn't imagine this would be a frame-winning effort, but maybe it will be.
29.
Well, I think the key was he initially played on that pink ball when he could have played down the table, but by playing on the pink, even though it took it onto the black spot, it did at least get it involved in the frame. The black's never really moved from where it is. Very good, once again. So as Phil said, maybe it will end up a frame winner. He's put a lot of effort into this break to get him to this point.
Yeah, 45 to the good. So if he pots the 3 open reds, the 3 obviously
36.
open reds, with 3 pinks, that would be well sufficient to regain the lead.
37. 43. 44.
So very well done this from Guodong.
50.
Frame ball. And he's worked very hard to get here.
51.
So, you know, sometimes match snooker, you get into a crucial stage, 3 each in a best of 9 in a big event like this. The balls do not go very kindly, and you've just got to find a way, and he has done.
Given that he launched the match with a 144 break, this isn't going to be his highest contribution of the contest, but I think,
57.
given its timing, it's his best contribution. The balls were far from ideally placed when he came to the table, Neil.
58.
Yeah, and of course Ronnie had that chance. He got in and you could sense that he was getting the upper hand. He missed that pink to right corner by quite a long way. It was off his spot. And he's kind of sat out ever since.
Xiao Guodong, 58, end of frame.
The break ends at 58, and so does the frame. Question, we don't know. Can O'Sullivan find something? Well, so far at least, his discipline has been good. He's been well short of his scintillating best, of course. But he's not allowed his head to drop or become frustrated.
Well, it would make for a very interesting decider should it go that way, and you know, it would not surprise me if we did go all the way. Sullivan, similar to yesterday, you know, he's able to grind, but he's not really scoring in the numbers that we're used to. Well, with the red over the pocket, it's a lot easier to pot it from
Ronnie O'Sullivan,
somewhere in the
4.
D than it would be from in that top right-hand corner of the table. However, once again, the black immediately tied up, as has been the case for a number of the frames in this match.
One.
Well, he got into the cue ball too much there with that left-handed shot. take a good shot because, as I say, no high value colours. It's got to be red and played with some force back down for something lower value. And those are the shots he's kind of missing right now. Putting a bit extra into the cue ball.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 3.
Playing it in that manner, the only ball he could leave was the one he went for. He was anxiously looking to see whether the yellow provided cover.
Yes, he
1.
was hoping that he'd covered it. He kind of did, but when they play that with left-hand side, if the pot goes in, it becomes running side, which has taken the cue ball up to allow the yellow to be potable. I don't know if he's got any sort of a shot here to get from yellow off 2 cushions to sort of disturb the black or the red surrounding it. It might not be that he wants to play that shot, but it's a possibility. And just playing on 1 red. So it's great to be in first, and we saw what he's capable of in the previous frame.
Now, he caught that red on the thick side, even though it went in, and that actually helped him to hold pretty much ideally on the blue.
Nine.
Xiao looking for his 3rd ranking quarter-final of a season, highlighted by his successful title defence at the Wuhan Open.
And once again, having to play on lower value colours. Needs an angle on this blue. This time he hasn't got one, so that's quite significant. It's very difficult to get from blue to red now, and he's fuming that he hasn't achieved better position on it. Well, it was a great effort,
21.
but I'm not sure he's disturbed anything enough to pot it in that bunch of reds. Yes, I'm not sure he can get to the potting angle on that middle red. And not far off, but I think he's forced to play safe.
Xiao Guodong, 21.
Well, he's at the point now, O'Sullivan, where he can't afford to make any more mistakes because it could be his last. Because you feel that Guodong, he kind of got over a mid-match crisis where he started to miss a couple. I think with Guodong, he's a very good player when he's in front. He's very hard, you know, to get past. You can sort of... don't think he's quite so good when he's chasing a match. But he's able to sort of dominate. Well, he's got a very slight angle on this. Hit the wrong side of it.
That's been one of the features today, actually, when Xiao has missed. Quite often he's missed by a mile. Of course, that tariff was very high on that shot. And the black liberated. With that, liberated even more. One quick score update for you. Elliot Slesser back in front against Chris Wakelin on table 3. Slesser making a 74 break in frame 5. 3-2 Slesser. 3-2 for Zhang Anda, still over Barry Hawkins. 4-1 for Sergio Wei over Pang Junzhu.
This is one of those safety shots. He's got no bolt colours to hide behind, but he knew that. He just wanted to get the cue ball further away from the reds. Or as far away from the reds as he could. But as Phil said, the pink and black now in relatively open play, so that'll interest both players should they get the next chance. If you're trying to send the cue ball round the angles here and potentially in behind the brown. Well, he's misjudged it anyway. He's not been potting all of these, O'Sullivan, but he could use this one going in.
Yeah, his normal percentage of crunch balls potted isn't there. Yeah, another one. Driving him to distraction. When you're as good as he is, it's hard to take when mistakes happen one after the other.
I think he knows that that could be a very significant one. That's the most animated I've seen him today. He was very disappointed with that last shot.
Yeah, throughout his career, he's prided himself on being able to knock in the really big shots. But today, I think that's been the difference. he's missed a succession of them. And from here, really, it's about connecting the dots for Xiao Guodong and
3.
retaining enough composure to get over the line.
Well, when the black is respotted, it seemingly will go to the right corner. So it's a good chance because you've got reds into the left corner. What a chance to close out this match.
A split second of anxiety as the cue ball was going
19.
and comfortably close to the red, but he's perfectly okay.
Yes, O'Sullivan looks sort of sitting right back in that chair, looking at the tip on his cue, not happy about a number of things, it seems. It's been a bit of a constant theme with O'Sullivan, though, isn't it? If you think back to the World Championships, he was experimenting with his cue. He got beaten in the semi-finals by the eventual winner. But he's never seemed happy with the equipment he was using. Anyway, this is a chance, a huge moment. Wins against Ronnie O'Sullivan do not come around all the time for certain players. Guodong had been on the wrong end a number of times. He's beat him in the champion, but that's non-ranking. This would be a significant victory for him.
Yes, and one he would greatly cherish. As for O'Sullivan, next time we see him might well be the World Open. After his double 147 magic at the Saudi Arabia Masters, the rest of the season for the Rocket has been
33.
uncharacteristically low-key. So the blue and one more red, and that will be that.
$39.
At 3-3, I thought that O'Sullivan looked marginally the better of the two players, but his challenges fizzled out.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a few bumps in the road in the middle of this match, but in general,
42.
you know, he's played well. This was the last shot O'Sullivan played, and he was very frustrated at that point, and it has cost him.
43.
So I think the tip's already off again. Well, we saw him take the tip off yesterday. But there you are.
48.
That's not anyone else's problem, really.
49.
It's a good win, this, for Xiao. He's a really tough match player these days.
56.
I would definitely concur with that. Just coming up to his
57.
37th birthday next week. Yeah, Xiao will be delighted
64.
by this. Started off like a train. 144 total clearance in the first frame. 78 in the second.
56.
But I think the way he's handled himself in the last two frames, even more impressive in a lot of respects.
Xiao Guodong 66.